Hello, and welcome to Engage Empower with Linda Matthews. We have a very exciting show today. We have a wonderful guest, one of the most powerful women in Hamilton County, and my friend. But let me tell you something real quick. So, I want to do a little intro before I bring her on. Because of COVID 19, more women owned businesses were really hurt, including mine, really hurt. And according to a new study by the US Chamber of Commerce, the pandemic has disproportionately impacted the health of women owned businesses. Did you guys all know that? Now, according to a recent survey by the US Chamber of Commerce, the number of female business owners who rank their business overall health as somewhat or very good fell 13 points. Can you guys believe women businesses fell 13 points during the pandemic? From 60% in January to 47% in July 2020. By contrast, the number of male business owners reporting a good business health status only fell 5 points in the same period, from 67% to 62%. But female small business owners, as the economy opens up and as people start going back to work and people start spending money with the holidays coming up, we can expect good things and expect future success in the coming year. And that's why I brought my friend on, Nancy Aichholz. Nancy graduated from Ohio State University, and she did the executive program at the Kellogg School of Business and Strategy and Management. And she also is a graduate of the Joanne Davidson Ohio Leadership Institute. Nancy, thank you for coming on the show.
Linda, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Yes, we've been talking about this for a while. So I'm really glad you came on, because you're doing so many great things in Hamilton County and Northern Kentucky. But I just touched a little bit about who you are, but why don't you tell the viewing audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. Well, I don't know that I'm one of the most powerful women in Hamilton County, Linda, but I'll take it. I don't know about that, but I like to have a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So I've dedicated the last almost 7 years of my life to directly supporting female business owners, female founders in all industries across any stage of their business life cycle. Because Aviatar, where I'm the CEO, is a nonprofit, and our mission is to empower female entrepreneurs. And the reason that I got into this business is that I had a corporate background, and then I took, like a lot of women do, some significant years off out of the corporate world to raise my family. I was fortunate to be blessed to be able to do that. Don't regret it for a minute. But then I started my own business. And so during that time, I realized how hard it is for female founders to access capital. And there really was no reason why I shouldn't have been able to access capital.
Right.
But it was really difficult. And back then, there were not a lot of resources to support small businesses in general, or in particular, women-owned businesses. So when this opportunity to run this organization crossed my path, I jumped right on it because I can really put myself in the shoes of these women. I know the day-to-day ups and downs. I know the highs and lows. I know the challenges. I know the struggles to get funding. I know the struggles to be taken seriously in the marketplace. And I wanted to help other women so that they had the tools that they needed to, jump those hurdles.
Right.
Well, so just other few little things about me. I have 3 great kids, great husband, 2 dogs, partridge in a pear tree,
So
all that stuff.
Our viewing audience needs to know that you are just a great entrepreneur. You really are. And I all the great things that you're doing. But you have a story when you talked about, you starting up your business. Well, that business was Nan Brands, and
Right,
Nan
right.
Brands was high-end cakes. Oh my God, you're coming right down my street, right? I love, and,
Best carrot cake you've ever tasted, I
oh my,
promise.
oh my God. And so you said that, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what happened that really made you put Nan Brand on hold?
Hmm.
There's
Hmm.
some things happened. What happened?
Right. Well, so it was a combination of things, but so the carrot cake was the initial offering, and I had a quick start because I had a great opportunity right at the beginning to get my product into the Nordstrom E-Bar at
Oh,
Kenwood Town Center,
okay.
which was huge. And so from there, I was in a lot of grocery stores. We did a lot of catering. We did um, lots of different things. It was a really solid business, and we we wore the carrot cake and honey baked ham for a Thanksgiving and a Christmas, which was huge.
Yes.
And we were at that point where we had to get out of our co-op kitchen. We were in that in between. We were too big for the co-op kitchen,
Mhm.
but really didn't have the revenues yet to have our build our own kitchen.
Right.
And so I was in that kind of in between. And I loved what we were doing,
Mhm.
but I knew that I wanted to scale the business. I knew that I wanted to be the next Sara Lee, or um, like bigger than just selling in a quarter bakery. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just wasn't what my vision for the company.
Right.
So a couple different things happened. I had my eye on a piece of property that was the perfect location because it had retail in the front,
Mhm.
and it had a opportunity to build a wholesale bakery in the back. And
Okay.
the retail would have been the cash flow for the wholesale,
Right.
and tons of foot traffic. So it was perfect.
Right.
And I had even the code to the door to go in and start looking at uh, putting in my hood for my oven and all those kind of things. And I couldn't get a lease from the guy who owned the building. And so finally I kind of pushed, like, dude, I need a lease here. And he's
Right.
like, oh well, you know, I gave the lease to somebody else.
Oh my
I
God.
went, like,
Oh,
dude, when were you going to tell me this?
wow.
And I said, why? And he said, well, I'm not sure if the people upstairs in my building really want to smell cakes baking all day. I'm like, well, I want them to smell cakes baking all day. What's wrong with that?
Right.
And he said, well, and you don't really have retail experience, and you're in kind of a crowded industry. And I had a airtight business plan. I had a solid plan, and you know, so that to me was a little bit of a boys club thing because it went to I think a buddy.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
that I wasn't happy about. And
Mhm.
then um, and then on top of that, I thought, okay, um, if I really want to do this, I'm going to need some significant funding because I'm going to have to build out my own place because I can't rely on other people like that.
Right.
Um, and even as collateralized as I personally was,
Mhm.
it was a real struggle to
Wow.
get somebody to take me seriously enough because they just saw me as, basically a housewife that baked cakes.
Wow.
But I'm a business person,
Yes, you.
and I had a solid business plan, and I had good financials, and I still just couldn't cut through the clutter.
Wow.
And so I thought, okay, God always has a plan.
Yes, he
This
does.
timing is not right. The company is, there's something solid about this business, but the timing isn't right.
Mhm.
I'm going to put it on the back burner. And when the time comes, something will come along that is the right thing.
Right.
And so, sure enough, Aviatra did come along. And, you never know. Man cakes may make a reappearance one of these days. Who knows?
So that roadblock just moved you to a new path, and you were introduced to the company that the company that you're serving now. And
Right.
so tell me a little bit about what is Aviatar
Hmm?
Accelerators. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, we are sort of one of a kind. There's not There's not another organization that I know of that's quite like ours.
Okay.
So we exist to empower female entrepreneurs. And what that means in our world is that we have the resources or the connections to help any woman who has any business idea at any stage of that idea. So some women come to us and they have just the germ of an idea, or some have actually come to us and said, I don't have my idea yet, but I know that I want to be an entrepreneur, or I think I want to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And so those women, we have them go through a program called Explore.
Okay.
And that's an ideation session where they really dig into validating their idea. How will they monetize this? Because we don't want anyone having an expensive hobby and we don't want anyone leaving their day job for something that can't be sustainable.
Right.
And so in that program, it's a 9-week cohort.
Okay.
They validate their idea, they figure out how to monetize, they come out with a basic business plan. And then our hope is that they will execute on that business plan for a couple of years. And then our next phase is more the traditional accelerator, although we don't take equity in our businesses, mostly because our businesses aren't necessarily venture backable.
Okay.
Not that we haven't seen some, but mostly they are they're businesses that are going to become large businesses, but they're starting out in that very small startup phase. And they're going to be they're probably mostly at the friends and family stage when they come to us.
Okay.
And then they will probably be either debt backed or potentially angel backed or private investor backed.
Oh,
so that's more the world that we play in.
Okay.
We are starting to see more women in tech, and they're certainly all tech enabled, but we're seeing more in tech. So I think that, as we keep doing this, and women are more willing to take some risk because the tech world is very risky, I think we'll see more venture backable. And we're starting to see more funds focus on minority and women founders, and they're looking for women to back. And I think some are getting out of their traditional thesis and starting to back scalable, but not necessarily the software and SaaS world. So that's what we do. And that second phase is called launch. Those women have been in business a couple of years. They probably have revenue and they're ready to really launch, and they will be looking to actively access capital at the end of that program. And that culminates in a pitch competition called Flight Night, which people can watch on our website. It's really fun to watch because the women do a great job. And they win cash prizes.
All right.
And then we stay friends with them, with all our women. We stay in touch and help them as much as we can. We do another program called Grow, which is just kind of one-off workshops. And that's really more if we know all of a sudden that a lot of our women need support, maybe learning about patents. We'll do a program on patents. If we know that they really need something social media related, we'll do the social media. We'll do branding. We'll do legal. We'll do accounting. Just kind of those one-off workshops that they need to really dig into. And then we always do one-on-one, not so much coaching, but more mentoring, really. And we partner with SCORE, which people might be familiar with, score.org. And the Cincinnati chapter is super strong. We have a great relationship with them. And we really, really encourage all of our women, whether they're at the Explore or the launch phase, we really encourage them to have a mentor.
That's quite amazing.
So we do that just, every day, no big deal.
Yeah, right. I mean, this is just a great program and a great process to go through. So you have Explore, you have Launch, you have Fight Night, and then you have Grow. And I just think, a program like that can really help women be successful, not just short term, but long term too. And it's focused just on women. I was going to ask you, how can a businesswoman learn by participating in your educational program? But you kind of answered that. And so, how many women has completed the program? And how have they been sustainable? Have they been very
Mm,
successful in
mhm.
that? Can you tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about how many women
yeah,
has been in that
yeah.
program?
So Aviatar has actually been around for over 11 years now.
Wow.
And we have seen well over 2,700 women
Wow.
in those 11 years. We are in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, and also in Dayton, Ohio.
Mhm.
And we had previously been up in Northeast Ohio, the Cleveland area.
Oh,
So we
okay.
have a lot of alums across the
Okay.
state and into Northern Kentucky. And we know that if a woman comes through our launch program,
Mhm.
she has an 80% chance
Mhm.
of launching and staying in business for an extended period of time.
Wow, that's
And if
amazing.
she can make it past that 5-year program, that 5-year mark, she's
Mhm.
probably in pretty good shape.
Mhm.
And so that's a pretty solid stat that
Wow.
if you come through our launch program, you have an 80% chance of success when, 90 some percent of small businesses fail.
Well, you have 2,700 women who has come through your program. Now, these phenomenal women has created how much money and how many jobs?
Mm. Yeah. So we know that just a small percentage of those women have created together a
Mhm.
combined earned revenues of over $1 billion, billion with a B.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing.
And they have gotten at least 15 million in follow-on funding. And that's an important stat also, that they are getting funding.
Wow.
And we know that they've created about 15,000 jobs. And I think that's really conservative, actually, because we don't have equity relationships with the women. We don't necessarily get all of their stats. So it's what we can kind of get from them by being in touch with them and kind of figuring it out on our own. But I think that's a pretty conservative number. I think it's actually pretty much higher than that.
Right. That's
We ourselves have given out $1 million in low interest loans.
oh,
We
wow.
no longer do that,
Okay.
partly because women, if we get them ready, they can get loans
Right.
from banks and from micro lending organizations. We're
Okay.
not a bank, and the regulations change so frequently
Right.
that I would prefer to network them with people who can give them ongoing funding
Right.
than to give them a loan that they have to turn around and start paying back right away,
Oh,
maybe before they're really ready.
okay.
And then it kind of keeps them from having the relationship that they might need long term with a bank,
Right.
because relationships are so important,
Yes,
as you know,
yes, they are.
critical.
Yes, they are.
Mhm.
So, so if a woman call you and they come to you, what are some of is there any documents or anything like that that they need to bring with them when they sit down with your team? Is there anything that may be needed besides just walking in the door and say, "Hey, I have an ideal"?
Oh, hey, we that happens a lot,
It
and
happens.
we love that. And every time I think I've heard every idea out there, I hear something new, and that's
Oh,
what makes
I,
our life so much fun.
right.
No, they really don't. So it depends on where they are in their world. So if they're coming through launch, which is the more advanced,
Mm-hmm.
by then they really should have their articles of organization.
Okay.
They should have some kind of business plan that they're working from.
Okay.
We make them enhance that and get a lot
Okay.
more detail.
Okay.
We help them figure out how to put a pitch deck together. We help them figure out how to do a pitch, because in order to get funding, they are going to have to sell their business through some type of a pitch
Okay.
along the way. So that's really, really important practice for them.
Okay.
But we don't turn anybody away. If, let's say, somebody applied for launch, they have a great idea, they've been in business a couple of years. If they maybe don't have their articles of organization just yet, I'd be a little surprised if they don't, because they should be paying taxes and should
Right.
have it.
Right.
But if they don't, we'll help them figure that out. But it's at that launch stage they generally have that. Back down at the early stage of Explore, we don't expect them to have any of that. In fact, it might be better that they don't,
Okay.
because we would like them to go through our legal courses that we have, the speakers on the legal structure, and do it right from the beginning,
Okay.
instead of, it's really hard to fix it once you do it wrong,
Right.
and it's
Right.
expensive. And so it's just better if they don't really know what they're doing, just wait and let an organization like Aviatar help you through that.
That is absolutely amazing. So what do you think, like with COVID and with women businesses, do you see a trend in women moving from one career into entrepreneurship? They're leaving lucrative jobs and things like that. Do you see a lot of people coming to your door and saying, hey, I left corporate and I want to do my own business. Can you help me? I mean, do you find
Right.
a lot of that?
Yeah, that's a great topic for discussion, because I'll never forget back in mid-March of 2020,
Mhm.
we actually had a board meeting, because I'm a nonprofit, so I report to a board of directors, and we had a board of directors meeting, and we switched it to a conference call because things were bubbling up and people were kind of nervous, and some people's companies had even said don't have meetings.
Wow.
And this was before everything really shut down, but it was coming.
Right.
It was somewhere around like March 13th or 12th or something. So it's like right on top of it.
Yeah.
So we had this conference call, and I remember saying to my board,
Mhm.
I don't know what'll happen to us. We're a small nonprofit, and who in their right mind, when the world shuts down, is going to want to start a new business?
Right.
Well, I'm telling you, 2 weeks later, the floodgates opened, and we have never been busier.
Oh,
We have,
wow.
in fact, we are not doing a cohort of Explore this fall, which
Okay.
we normally would, because we haven't stopped since March of 2020. We have been so busy. We've seen more women, and we've seen more women who are really dedicated to their idea,
Right.
and they're pretty advanced when they come to us at this
Okay.
point. We saw a lot of women with corporate careers
Right.
who, not necessarily that they were leaving,
Mhm.
but I think they kind of wanted to hedge their bets.
Right.
I think they were nervous about what could happen in their career.
Right.
I think they had, strangely, a little extra time because of the lack of commute,
Right. Right.
and some time to really kind of think through some ideas. And I think a lot of people thought, why not now? And
Right.
actually, because of all the CARES Act type funding,
Mhm.
there was a decent amount of money available to women,
Right.
and minorities and men, small
Right.
businesses in general.
Yeah.
And these women wanted to take advantage of that
Mhm.
opportunity. And I have to say that being a small business, even though we're a nonprofit,
Mhm.
that PPP money saved our lives.
Oh,
It
wow.
was the lifeline we needed in order to just make it to figure out what we were going to do.
Right. Right.
And the other thing that I thought was fascinating was, we do our cohorts in person, obviously.
Mhm.
And I was like, I wonder how we'll do a cohort virtual.
Right.
Nobody wanted to do it virtual.
Oh, wow.
Women, like, they said, I'll wait
Mhm.
until you're going to be in person. So we just went ahead, and
Right.
we were gifted some space that was huge, and the women, everybody wore their mask, and we
Right.
had no issues because they
Right.
wanted to be together,
Right.
because there's the power in that cohort, the
That's true.
power in that team,
Yeah.
that, just having each other's backs and
Right.
knowing each other and supporting each other and sharing information in person
It's nothing
made
like.
such a difference. And so we did, since COVID started, we've done, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I think we've done 4 Explore and
Wow.
2 Launch. We do 1 launch a year. So we've done 2 Launch, and they've been super successful.
Oh, that's
We
wonderful.
literally didn't miss a beat.
Oh, wow. And that is, I mean, for COVID, that is just fantastic. And that just
Mm-hmm.
goes to show you how resilient women are,
Mm-hmm.
We are
Mm-hmm.
resilient. We know
Oh
how
yeah.
to make it happen. And
Oh
we,
yeah.
as long as we stick to our guns, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
And so with
Yeah.
that being said, what footprint will women business owners leave for future generations? What do you think? Because we're moms, but we're also business women. So
Right.
do you
Right.
think, what kind of legacy do you think women of today, after going through COVID,
Mm-hmm.
it's totally different, something that has never happened before. So what do
Yeah.
you think the future holds? What we're
Mm-hmm.
going to leave for future generations?
Yeah. It's interesting because women have been business women since the dawn of time.
Oh yeah,
If you read Proverbs 31 in the Old Testament, that she was the consummate entrepreneur,
yes, she was.
and yeah, and yet she was also a noble wife and a wonderful mother and great to her household staff and a
Yeah,
terrific woman.
yeah,
And we're still like that. Women are still like that.
yes, we are.
We just don't call it the same thing.
No, we don't. But I always
Yeah.
say to young girls that women are the glue to the world. We're
Mhm.
the glue to the
Mhm.
family, the husband, the community.
Yeah.
We're the glue.
Yeah.
So, and you're
So, but
right.
I do think that to answer your question though about what's different about COVID
Hmm.
is that I think women, particularly women who were already in business,
Okay.
they they really figured out how resilient they actually are. I
Right.
was so impressed at how these women who have been in business for years doing things a certain way, like that, turned on a dime, pivoted, and some were even more successful than they had been prior.
That's amazing.
We have a caterer in Northern Kentucky, Mavis with Delish Dish.
Uh-huh.
Like in 5 minutes, she pivoted and was doing um, take home meals, and people were driving up and picking up their evening dinner,
My
and like just
goodness.
like that. And yet she's huge in the wedding industry,
Right.
and I know that the PPP also helped her too, but
Right.
she didn't miss a beat, and she was doing prepackaged like Easter dinner and Thanksgiving
Right.
dinner, and I just super impressive. Share Cheese Bar in Pleasant Ridge, she pivoted to be a takeout, and
Right.
she's actually not probably going back to having in-person seating anymore because it was so successful.
Right.
So these women just they figured out how resilient they were. They were creative. Oh, Crafts and Vines in Northern Kentucky in Covington. She's
Okay.
a wine bar, and she was selling. I
I'm
mean, the
writing
alcohol
it down.
industry was great during that time. She was selling Crafts and Vines out of her door,
Oh
um,
wow.
in boxes. People were picking up their cases, and she was also doing dessert trays.
Oh wow.
Like
So just
good
really,
for her.
yeah, good for
Yeah.
her. I mean, just total resiliency. I mean, I
Mhm.
always, I'm a big believer in supporting women businesses, and to see them come out of COVID the way they did, like you said, they pivoted and they are successful and do it even better. So I just think that's just women, that's just
Yeah.
who we are.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, Nancy, please state why women should consider your company.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, statewide. Like I thought you said, oh, statewide, everybody should consider.
Yeah,
Yes,
statewide.
they should.
Well, really, statewide, everyone should consider. Well, we have people going to be watching from 3 other states, so you
Okay.
might get another some phone calls from other
Yeah, well,
states.
yeah, well, we're looking to expand, honestly,
Yes,
because there's not too many people doing what we do.
yes,
So, yeah, so we kind of have something for everyone who's a female founder,
hmm,
whether you've been in business a number of years or whether you just have an idea.
right,
So the other thing too is, as I say, we don't own these women. So
right.
you can come to us for some kind of service or support
Hmm.
and still do all the other things, other accelerators or other programs or whatever. And we network women out to SCORE and to SBDC and to other accelerators all the time.
Hmm.
And and most importantly, we're trying to help them get that funding that they need. So we're going to be connecting them with funding sources. But if you don't live in the region or you don't live near Dayton, Ohio, We do have a digital product called Aviatar 365, and
Okay.
they can find it on our website, aviatra.org. You can see right there, AVIATRA .org. And that is something that a woman can purchase and just do on her own time.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
and I even suggest it to women who have been through the cohorts, because you can go back and do that social media module when you're ready to do social media, or you can go back and do the branding, or you can do the legal or check your accounting practices on your own time. And that's available to men or women. Anybody can use the curriculum,
Okay.
and on their own time.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make sure I go in there myself, and because I need help as well. I've told all my friends about you and about what you're doing for thousands of women in Ohio. And so they're going to be watching this show, and they'll probably be blowing up your phone. They're so excited. They've been waiting for you to come on. And they're just, and I told them that you'll probably give out the information so they can reach out to you. So can you, before we end, can you please say one more time where you can be reached, your phone number, your email, your website, so that all the women know how to reach out to you across
Sure,
Ohio?
sure. Okay. For those of you who like to pick up the phone and make phone calls, it's 859-655-8343. And give us a minute to call you back, because it goes to an answering machine, which still exists. A voicemail still exists. And then we can be reached through our website, which is Aviatra, AVIATRA. I know that's probably backwards to you guys, but aviatra.org. And you can sign up for our newsletter. You can email us through the info email that's on the website. And you can also go to the programs tab and find out more specifics. You can even look at the kind of curriculum that we offer in each of the cohorts.
Okay, well, we're going to put that information at the end of the show, and we'll kind of make it pause a little bit so everybody can get a snapshot of how to get in contact with you. And Nancy, I want to thank you for coming on Engage, Empower with Linda Matthews. We've been waiting for this for quite some time. As time goes on, we got to get you back on the show.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And you know what, Linda, if your women sign up for the Aviatar 365, if they send me an email and say that they heard about Aviatar 365 on your show, I'll give them a 10% discount.
Oh my God, you heard that, ladies. So
I know.
go ahead and blow up her phone, because
blow it up.
My
Go right ahead.
I have friends in Los Angeles that I told about you.
Nice.
And I have friends in Maryland that I told about you. So these are friends of mine all over the United States that I've been talking about you, talking about all the work that you've been doing with women-owned businesses. So they've been waiting for this. So don't be surprised.
Okay. Hey, bring them on.
Because you know, they, you know, like you said, you're in a unique place, and you're helping women, and you know, it's great to be supported like that in your walk as being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, we can't do it alone. We can't do it alone.
I had to learn that the hard way, you know.
Yeah, we all do, Linda. We all learn it the hard way.
We're trying to wear 50 hats at one time. It just doesn't work.
We don't ask for help like we should.
Yeah. I mean, you know, moms and all the other things that come with it, and you just think you're a superwoman and you can do it all, but you know, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but you can do it all, but it's really hard to do it all at one time.
There you go. Maybe a glass of wine every now and then.
Yeah, that too. It can't hurt.
So Nancy, I just want to thank you for coming on Engage, Empower. And this ends our show. And women, you heard what she said. I'm going to make sure at the end of the show that we have the information up for all of you to get it. Please reach out to Nancy. And she said, if you mention her company, Aviatar, I'm sorry, say one more time, Nancy.
Aviatra.
Aviatra.
If they mention your show,
365, she's going to give you 10% off. So reach out to my friend Nancy. She's doing fabulous, wonderful, phenomenal things here in Hamilton, Ohio. And although she says she's not this powerhouse, Nancy is a powerhouse, you guys. I love her to death. So Nancy, thanks for coming on. And everyone, thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Aviatar started in 2010 as an organization called Bad Girl Ventures.
Over the last 10 years, we've seen Aviatar alums generate over $10 million in low-interest loans, employing thousands of people, over $1 billion in sales. And those are just the sales that we can count. We know it's even higher.
Our women have received well over $15 million in follow-on funding. We're in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky region, and we're up in Dayton, Ohio.
Organized 365 has grown to be a $2 million company.
We've been able to add 4 more states to our repertoire. In 2020, I won Kentucky Business of the Year from the SBA.
I was able to get through 2020 and not only grow, but launch a new product.
None of this would have been possible if it weren't for Aviatar and then the series of successes that happened afterwards.
When you look at our track record of success, you can't help but say, okay, this is important.